What did you write on me?
Something heartbreaking is coming in 1923, Season 2, Episode 5, and fans are not ready for it. Just when we thought things couldn't get any worse, the upcoming episode is set to deliver a gut-wrenching twist that will shake the Dutton family to its core. The latest trailer hints at devastating consequences for Spencer and Alexandra, a shocking revelation for Elizabeth, and a life-altering decision that could change everything. If you thought Episode 4 was intense, brace yourself because the emotional stakes have never been higher. Let's break down what's coming next in 1923 and why Episode 5 is set to be one of the most painful yet. Spencer Dutton has faced death more times than we can count, but his latest ordeal might be his most dangerous yet. After everything he's been through fighting in wars, surviving shipwrecks, and being hunted across continents, it seemed like nothing could break him. But Episode 5 is about to test him in ways we never expected. The trailer reveals that Spencer is finally closing in on Montana, but his journey home is far from over. The federal agents tracking him are relentless, and with every step he takes, the noose around his neck tightens. He has been walking a fine line between survival and destruction, and now one wrong move could cost him everything. In Episode 4, we saw Spencer entangled in a dangerous deal with the Italian mafia, one that ended in bloodshed and betrayal. Now, the consequences of his actions are catching up with him. The law isn't the only thing he has to worry about. The people he's crossed are just as determined to make him pay. The question is, will Spencer make it out alive, or has his luck finally run out? His sharp instincts and brute strength have saved him before, but even the strongest men have their limits. With Montana still out of reach, time is running out for him to turn things around. Meanwhile, Spencer's enemies are multiplying. Donald Whitfield, the ruthless businessman hell-bent on destroying the Dutton family, now sees him as a direct threat. Until now, Whitfield has been playing the long game, manipulating the town council, securing investors, and tightening his grip on Montana's future. But the moment he learns that Spencer is still alive and heading home, he shifts his strategy. Whitfield isn't just looking to defeat the Duttons, he wants to erase them entirely. And what better way to do that than by cutting them off at the root? Spencer is the key to the Dutton family's survival, which makes him Whitfield's #1 target. If Spencer makes it home, the war truly begins. If he doesn't, the Dutton legacy could end before it even has a chance to fight back. But what if Spencer doesn't just survive? What if he strikes first? We've seen what he's capable of when backed into a corner, and there's no doubt he'll go to any lengths to protect his family. The only question is, will he get the chance? Because in Episode 5, the biggest threat might not be the mafia, the law, or even Whitfield. It might be Spencer himself. He's been running for so long, fighting for survival at every turn, that he's losing sight of the man he used to be. If he doesn't find a way to hold on to himself, he might return to Montana a different person entirely, if he returns at all. Alexandra has already proven she is far more than just Spencer's love interest. She's a survivor. She abandoned her privileged life, defied her aristocratic family, and faced death more times than she ever imagined. But her fight is far from over. After the brutal events of Episode 4, where she barely escaped the clutches of her vengeful fiancé, Arthur, the trauma she endured still lingers. The ship's chaotic battle left her physically shaken, but the true scars are emotional. She's haunted by the moment Arthur lunged at Spencer, forcing him to fight for both of their lives. Now, as she and Spencer continue their desperate journey to Montana, she knows one thing for certain: danger will always follow them. The latest trailer hints at Alexandra facing yet another devastating setback. She and Spencer were supposed to be on their way home, but fate has other plans. The journey across the Atlantic is filled with unexpected threats, and it's becoming clear that their fight for freedom isn't over. If the dangers at sea weren't enough, Alexandra now faces an internal battle that could break her spirit. She's no longer the carefree woman who ran off with Spencer in Africa. She's someone who has seen the worst of humanity and lived to tell the tale. But how much more can she endure? There's also a deeper problem brewing beneath the surface. Alexandra is beginning to fear that her presence is making Spencer's life even harder. She thought escaping her old life would bring her peace, but instead, it has placed Spencer in more danger than ever before. With every setback, every battle, and every close call, she wonders if she's becoming a burden. She loves him with every fiber of her being, but what if that love is what destroys him? Alexandra has always been fiercely independent, but she's now at a crossroads. Should she continue fighting alongside Spencer, or is it time to step away for his own good? However, stepping away might not be an option. The latest trailer suggests that Alexandra's past is coming back to haunt her in ways she never expected. There are whispers that her family in England is pulling strings behind the scenes, determined to bring her back whether she wants to return or not. She may have escaped Arthur's wrath, but the influence of her family still looms large. Alexandra's aristocratic lineage stretches far beyond the shores of Europe. But what if her own family is now working against her? If that's the case, Alexandra might not just be fighting for her freedom. She might be fighting for her life. At the same time, her relationship with Spencer is being tested like never before. We've seen them overcome impossible odds, but the emotional toll of their struggles is beginning to show. The weight of everything they've endured: separation, near-death experiences, and constant uncertainty is starting to take a toll on their love. The bond they share is undeniable, but is love alone enough to keep them together? The upcoming episode suggests that Alexandra and Spencer will be forced to confront the hardest question of all. Can they truly have a future together when their past keeps pulling them apart? The most chilling part of the trailer comes in a fleeting but powerful moment: Alexandra standing alone on a darkened dock, tears streaming down her face. Her expression isn't just one of sadness, it's one of pure devastation. Something happens in this episode that breaks her in a way we haven't seen before. The question is, what? Has Spencer been taken from her? Has she been forced to leave him behind? Or is she making a heartbreaking choice of her own? Spencer Dutton has spent years running from his pain, his past, and the ghosts that haunt him. But no matter how far he travels, the weight of what he has seen and done always catches up with him. Now, after the deadly confrontation with Arthur and the harrowing journey back to Montana, Spencer finds himself at yet another crossroads. He has fought tooth and nail to reunite with his family. But with each step forward, it seems fate pulls him 2 steps back. The trailer hints at the emotional and physical toll this journey has taken on him. And the choices he makes next may determine whether he ever finds true redemption or loses himself completely. Spencer has always been a man shaped by war. The horrors of battle left scars deeper than flesh, and though he has tried to bury them beneath adventure and distance, they remain. The moment he left Africa, the moment he committed to fighting for his family's legacy, he unknowingly reopened wounds that had never fully healed. Now Montana calls to him, but it is no longer just about returning home. It's about proving to himself that he still has a purpose. But the cost of that purpose is rising, and the latest trailer suggests that Spencer will soon be forced to pay a price he never expected. One of the most striking moments in the teaser is Spencer staring into the distance, his face shadowed with doubt. It's a rare moment of vulnerability for him. Gone is the confident, battle-hardened man who once took on the wilds of Africa without fear. Instead, we see a man who is tired, conflicted, and perhaps even afraid. What is weighing so heavily on his mind? Could it be the guilt over what happened with Arthur? Or is it something far worse, the creeping realization that no matter how hard he fights, he may never truly find peace? Spencer's reunion with his family has been the driving force behind his journey. But what if that reunion isn't the salvation he's been hoping for? The world he left behind is not the same one he will return to. Montana is no longer a place of safety, but a battleground. And the fight for the Yellowstone is growing more brutal by the day. He's walking into a war, one that his family desperately needs him for. But will he be ready? And more importantly, will he be welcome? The trailer hints at tension brewing beneath the surface, and it's possible that not everyone in the Dutton family will be eager to embrace his return. Then there's Alexandra. She's been his anchor, the one person who truly understands his soul. But what if his love for her puts her in more danger than she can handle? Spencer has never been the kind of man to second-guess his instincts. But for the first time, he seems to be questioning everything. Does Alexandra deserve a life filled with constant battles and near-death experiences? Is he dragging her into a war she never signed up for? But that may not even be his choice to make. The trailer also teases an ominous development that could change everything Spencer in chains. A brief but shocking moment suggests that Spencer will find himself imprisoned, though the circumstances remain unclear. Is this a consequence of Arthur's death? Has someone from Alexandra's past finally caught up to them? Or is this something even darker, an enemy lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? The idea of Spencer behind bars is terrifying because it represents his ultimate nightmare, being powerless. He has always relied on his strength, his instincts, and his ability to fight his way out of any situation. But if he's captured, if he's restrained, it means he's lost control. And in a world as dangerous as the one he inhabits, losing control could mean losing everything. Control often leads to losing everything. The stakes for Spencer have never been higher, and as the trailer teases, the choices he makes in episode 5 could define his future forever. Redemption has always been his goal. But what if redemption comes at a cost he's not willing to pay? What if, after everything, he is forced to sacrifice the very thing he's been fighting for? One thing is certain: Spencer's journey is far from over, but the road ahead is darker than ever before. The question is, will he survive the battle ahead, or will the weight of his past finally crush him? Alexandra has always been a force of resilience, a woman who defied expectations and risked everything to be with Spencer. From the moment she abandoned her aristocratic life to embrace an uncertain future, she proved that love meant more to her than comfort, status, or safety. But the latest trailer hints at a brutal reality: love alone may not be enough to protect her from what's coming. Her journey, once fueled by romance and adventure, is now turning into a desperate struggle for survival, one that will test her limits in ways she never imagined. The escape from London already cost her dearly. She left behind a world that never truly understood her, but the echoes of that past refuse to stay buried. The shadow of Arthur's death still lingers, and the repercussions are catching up fast. The brief glimpses of Alexandra in the trailer suggest a woman caught in the middle of something far bigger than herself. Her expressions flicker between fear, determination, and heartache, signs of someone trying to stay strong, but knowing that the ground beneath her is crumbling. One of the most chilling moments in the teaser shows Alexandra in an unfamiliar place, her face pale with worry, her hands trembling ever so slightly. Is she in danger? Has someone discovered who she really is? Or worse, has she been separated from Spencer? The very thought sends a shiver down the spine, because if there's one thing we know, it's that Alexandra and Spencer are strongest when they are together. The prospect of them being torn apart now, just when they need each other the most, is terrifying. But the most gut-wrenching possibility the trailer teases is that Alexandra might be facing the fight of her life alone. She was once an aristocrat, shielded from the harshest realities of the world. Now, she's been thrown into a battle she never signed up for. Whether it's running from those who want revenge for Arthur's death, or fighting to protect herself in an unfamiliar land, One thing is certain, this is a turning point for her. No longer just Spencer's love interest or companion, Alexandra is about to prove just how much of a survivor she truly is. And yet, as strong as she is, there is a darker truth lurking beneath it all. The trailer hints at something far more personal, Alexandra clutching her stomach, her expression one of quiet devastation. Could this mean what fans have been speculating? Is Alexandra pregnant? If so, the stakes just became even more unbearable. Suddenly, it's not just her survival on the line, but that of a life she hadn't planned for. The thought of bringing a child into this violent, chaotic world is overwhelming. And if she is indeed expecting, it would explain the deep conflict in her eyes. A baby changes everything. And if Spencer is still trapped in his own battle, Alexandra may have to face this new reality without him. The heartbreak in her eyes says it all. She has never felt more alone. The love that once seemed unbreakable is now being tested in ways neither of them could have foreseen. Alexandra has always believed in Spencer. But what if the weight of his past is finally pulling them apart? What if his fight for redemption means leaving her behind? The thought is unbearable, but the trailer suggests that their love is teetering on a dangerous edge. Then there's the question of her safety. If Spencer is captured, who will protect Alexandra? She's already proven her bravery, but even the strongest hearts have breaking points. The world is cruel, and the enemies they've made won't hesitate to use her as leverage. Is she being hunted? Has someone uncovered her connection to Arthur's family? The tension is suffocating, and as much as Alexandra has grown into a fighter, she is still just one woman against a brutal world. But perhaps the most heartbreaking possibility of all is what the trailer refuses to show. Does Alexandra make it out of this alive? The fear in her eyes, the way her breath hitches in one moment, the way she clutches her chest in another, it all feels too ominous. There's a real danger looming over her, and if episode 5 delivers on its promise of heartbreak, Alexandra may be in more danger than anyone realizes. Spencer and Alexandra's story is far from over, but the question remains, will they survive what's coming? Love stories have been nothing short of epic, but love is not always enough to survive the storm. As they both fight their own battles, separated by fate, one question lingers. Will they find their way back to each other? Or has destiny already decided on a tragic end? The Duttons have always fought to protect what's theirs, but the battle they face now is unlike anything they've endured before. The trailer for episode 5 paints a grim picture, one of uncertainty, betrayal, and a looming threat that could change the fate of Yellowstone forever. It's no longer just about land or power. This time, survival itself is on the line. As the dust settles from the chaos of episode 4, one thing becomes clear. The Dutton family is running out of time. Jacob Dutton has weathered storm after storm, holding on to the ranch with sheer grit and an iron will. But now, the cracks are showing. His health is failing, his enemies are closing in, and the men who once stood by his side are questioning whether he still has the strength to lead. The ranch has always been a battleground, but never has it felt so vulnerable. The trailer hints at a shocking development: Jacob standing alone, staring into the distance, his expression unreadable. Has he realized that he might not be able to hold on much longer? Or worse, has he already lost more than he can bear? And then there's Kara, the woman who has been the backbone of the family, the voice of reason, and the silent force keeping everything together. But even she seems shaken. In the latest teaser, a fleeting shot shows her clutching a letter, her hands trembling ever so slightly. Is it bad news? Has something happened to Spencer? The weight of her expression suggests a deep fear, one that comes from realizing that everything she has fought for may soon slip through her fingers. The biggest question looming over episode 5, however, isn't just about survival. It's about betrayal. The Duttons have always had enemies, but the most dangerous ones often come from within. The trailer teases a tense conversation, a moment where Jacob looks someone in the eye and says, "I trusted you." The words are simple, but the weight behind them is suffocating. Who has turned against the family? And what does this betrayal mean for the future of Yellowstone? Then there's the looming conflict with Donald Whitfield, the man who has made it his mission to break the Duttons, to strip them of their land, their power, and everything they hold dear. He has resources, influence, and a ruthless ambition that makes him one of the most dangerous adversaries they've ever faced. The trailer shows glimpses of him calm, calculating, and utterly unshaken. While the Duttons fight with their hearts, Whitfield fights with strategy. And if there's one thing that makes him even more dangerous, it's that he plays the long game. One particularly haunting moment in the trailer shows a fire raging in the distance. Smoke rises high into the sky, swallowing the land in thick, suffocating darkness. Is this a warning? A message from Whitfield that the Duttons are running out of time? Fire has always been a symbol of destruction, but also of renewal. If Yellowstone burns, will there be anything left to rebuild? The most gut-wrenching aspect of this battle is the realization that not everyone will make it out alive. The Duttons have lost before, but something about this moment feels final. The tension, the desperation, the sheer exhaustion in their eyes, it all suggests that a devastating blow is coming. The only question is, who will fall? Meanwhile, Elizabeth's shocking revelation in episode 4 has left the family reeling. The pregnancy news should have been a moment of hope, a promise that the Dutton name will live on. But with every passing episode, the future becomes more uncertain. Can this family survive long enough to see that future? Or will their enemies succeed in wiping out everything they've built before the next generation even has a chance? As the Duttons brace for what's to come, one thing is certain, episode 5 will not hold back. The stakes have never been higher, and the heartbreak that awaits is inevitable. The question is, will the Duttons be strong enough to endure it? Or is this the beginning of the end? With tension at an all-time high, the Duttons stand at the edge of a precipice. Episode 5 is shaping up to be the most heartbreaking chapter yet, and the trailer hints at a devastating turn of events, one that could change Yellowstone forever. The battle lines have been drawn, and the war for land, legacy, and survival has escalated into something far more dangerous. The Duttons have always fought with everything they have, but this time the cost may be too much to bear. One of the most chilling moments in the trailer is a single gunshot ringing through the valley. The sound echoes like a death knell, leaving no doubt that blood will be spilled. The question remains, who will be the one to fall? The Duttons have lost so many before, but this time it feels different. This time, the loss could be final, a devastating blow that changes the future of the family forever. The trailer offers glimpses of chaos. Horses galloping at full speed, dust rising in thick clouds, and the unmistakable sight of someone collapsing to the ground. But their face remains unseen, leaving fans with a gut-wrenching sense of dread. Spencer's journey has been one of redemption, of fighting his way back to the family he left behind. But the path home is treacherous, and danger lurks at every turn. His reunion with Alexandra should have been a moment of triumph, but now it's overshadowed by an impending tragedy. The trailer shows Spencer staring at something or someone with a look of shock and pain. Has he arrived too late? Has the battle already claimed someone he loves? His fight has always been one of survival, but now it may be one of vengeance. If the Yellowstone is under attack, Spencer won't just defend it. He'll burn down anyone who dares to threaten his family. Meanwhile, Elizabeth's shocking revelation in episode 4 has sent ripples through the family. A child should be a symbol of hope, a promise of a future. But with war brewing around them, what kind of future will this child inherit? Elizabeth's fears are palpable, She knows that nothing is guaranteed. The look in her eyes says it all. The Duttons may be legendary, but even legends can fall. And if the family crumbles, what will be left for the next generation? The weight of this truth is crushing, and episode 5 will force Elizabeth to make a choice, one that could change everything. As if the threats from the outside weren't enough, the trailer hints at a betrayal that could shatter the family from within. A secret meeting, whispered words in the dark, and a familiar face turning away in shame. It all points to someone breaking ranks. The Duttons have always prided themselves on loyalty. But what happens when that loyalty is tested? Is there a traitor among them? And if so, what does that mean for the future of the Yellowstone? The pieces are falling into place, and the picture they create is one of destruction. Then there's Donald Whitfield, the man orchestrating the chaos from the shadows. He's not just after the land, he's after complete domination. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to watch the Duttons suffer. And the worst part? He's playing the long game. Every move has been calculated, every strike perfectly timed. He knows exactly where to hit. And in episode 5, he may finally deliver the blow that breaks the Duttons for good. The trailer shows him standing at a distance, watching the Yellowstone ranch with an eerie calmness. He knows something they don't. He's already set his plan in motion, and by the time they realize it, it may be too late. The fire that burned in the distance in the last episode wasn't just a warning, it was a prophecy. The Yellowstone is in danger, and the flames of destruction are closing in fast. The trailer shows Jacob and Kara standing together, silhouetted against the horizon. Their faces are lined with exhaustion, with grief, with the crushing weight of knowing that no matter how hard they fight, they may not win this time. Jacob, the unbreakable patriarch, looks away for a moment, as if he's already accepting the possibility of defeat. But Kara, she refuses to back down. If this is the end, she will go down fighting. And then, the final, most gut-wrenching moment of the trailer, a funeral. The Duttons gathered in black, their expressions unreadable, their grief nearly tangible. A single coffin, a fresh grave, and the undeniable truth that one of them is gone. The camera lingers on each face. Jacob, his jaw tight with anger. Kara, barely holding back tears. Spencer, his hands clenched into fists. And then, a final shot, a single white flower resting on the coffin lid. A symbol of life, of love, of something lost far too soon. The Duttons have always endured. But this time, endurance may not be enough. Episode 5 promises heartbreak, devastation, and a loss that will shake the family to its core.